2022. My name is Mike Blakely, and I'm the CEO of the Marin Economic Forum. We are a nonprofit public benefit organization providing research and advisory on the Marin County economy. For more about our work and to make sure that you can be invited to future events like this, please visit our website at www.marineconomicforum.org, where you can find all kinds of reports and studies that we've done in the past, and more importantly, get invited to this and other future events that we're hosting for the community. So, as I mentioned, this is our first economic briefing of 2022. This is a monthly series of 30-minute snapshots of the economy that we like to provide for the community. One thing we won't be doing today is trying to give a forecast of 2022, and there's two reasons for that. The first one being that that's being done all around us in different news sites and journals around, and there are plenty of people that are taking the opportunity to tell everybody what they feel is going to happen during this year. We have opinions, but we try to deal with facts. And the second reason is just that for the last 2 years, we've been trying, like everybody, to get a handle on what's going to happen in the economy. And we find that we make a lot of mistakes, and it's just a very difficult thing to do, forecasting. And so we like to use these briefings to actually tell you and share with you data that tells us what is happening and what has happened, in the hopes that you'll have a better understanding of what's happening in our local economy and some of the things to be aware of in the future. Joining me as always to do this is our chief economist, Dr. Rob Eiler, who is a well-known economist here in the North Bay and serves not only Marin Economic Forum, but also serves as the dean in Sonoma State University. Rob is going to take us through some of the most recent data at the national, state, and local level. And then I'll come back at the end and share with everybody some of the things that we're looking at going into 2022. So with that, again, thank you for joining us, and I'm going to turn it over to Rob.
Thanks, Mike. Folks, thanks for coming this morning. What I want to do is I want to get started by kind of giving you the latest jobs data that are out there for the US. And then I'm actually going to provide you briefly with what the Federal Reserve is looking at with respect to the forecasts that they may use to determine interest rates. But as Mike said, we're not providing a forecast for the regional area yet because there's a lot of that stuff now slowly emerging for California and the region. This is what the jobs data look like here from December 2021. This is a comparison to the Great Recession. So the blue line represents the evolution of jobs during the Great Recession as a comparison to what we've had in the most recent recession, starting in November 2007 and then moving forward 78 months to just get back to that same volume of workers. If you look at the current recession and recovery period, we about 97.8% back to where we started in January 2020 with respect to total volume of workers in the US. But one of the things to recognize about that evolution of jobs is that just like with the Great Recession, there's going to be some sectoral shifts in who's working, who lost jobs, and ultimately what the level of workers will be by major industry sectors in the US, which then very much relates to the industry sectors in California and ultimately in Marin County in the Bay Area. So we need to get that black line above the red dotted line just to get the total volume of workers recovered. And then we can start what an economist would call economic expansion in the labor force. One of the biggest questions, and we actually had a question from the community about inflation and its genesis and kind of what will potential rate hikes that the Federal Reserve may do, how that might affect the Marin County economy. These data represent monthly inflation data with respect to what's called the Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index. And that's meant to be the broadest base of goods and services purchased in the US and the cost of that so-called basket of goods over time. You can see that from these data that again are from 2007 forward monthly, there was a real spike in 2021. And these data are also known as core, which means that food and energy prices have been stripped out of this basket because they tend to be historically the more volatile parts of that index. Now, a quick caveat on looking at core is that as food and energy prices rise and they start to seep into other supply chains, that will affect overall prices in the core, driven mainly by food and energy prices. Economists at this point feel like that some of that has happened. So keep that in mind when you hear about inflation. But are we at relatively historic highs? Yes. The red dots on this graph, which I'm now going to shade, suggest what the Federal Reserve sees as the evolution of inflation over the next few years, with it turning the corner in 2022 and then sliding down toward what we think of as more of a medium-term normal, a little bit above that blue dotted line, which is where the Federal Reserve wants inflation. And in fact, we'll think about policy change. So the question coming about rate hikes and how that will affect Marin County's economy. If rate hikes trying to address this evolution and trying to dampen inflation pressure take place in 2022 and 2023, and we're hearing a lot of rhetoric that that's coming, it'll do two major things. One, it'll reset the way we're valuing equities in terms of how people look at their portfolios. It will also potentially change housing marginally in terms of demand and potentially supply. It should not have a major effect if rate hikes are predictable and, in a sense, there's no monetary surprises. So if the Federal Reserve says they're going to increase rates 3 times in 2022 and they do so, then the market should slowly react to that, and we won't have a lot of violence in housing, equity, and labor markets as a result of interest rates rising. But the genesis of inflation here, and this is what I'm going to walk you through now, is what to watch. Are prices falling or stabilizing? The genesis of inflation is always excess demand. So if demand starts to be somewhat dampened by either rate increases or the idea that you basically bought everything you're going to buy, and increase in prices have now also slowed down consumption, are we seeing a reaction to that in terms of prices? The next piece is, are ports clearing? So are the supply chains visibly getting, in a sense, cleared and not necessarily choking up supply in such a way to create shortages in distribution and retail markets? Will the Federal Reserve raise rates more quickly than they're already saying, or will it be a smooth transition over the next few years? That's a big question. But again, if all that is predictable and shaped by the Federal Reserve from rhetoric to policy change, there should be a smooth movement, and should also curl inflation partially, but I'll come back to that in just a minute. Are wages going to continue to rise? So wage pressure is also putting a little bit more emphasis on inflation rising. How many workers have left the workforce? And those last two bullets are tied to each other. Are wages rising because we're struggling to find workers, and those costs of wages rising are starting to push through to retail markets, which is the reflection here? And will those workers come back? So one of the reasons why businesses and generally employers increase wages is because they're trying to attract a labor force that they can't find. If that labor force no longer exists, and you can think of Marin County, the Bay Area, and California as a microcosm in sort of concentric circles of getting bigger of the US economy, we don't have enough data yet to know exactly how many people have permanently left the labor force. We know there's been a lot of convolution and a lot of churn, if you will, but we don't know the permanence of those changes just yet. Housing prices at the local level generate a lot of inflation pressure. So if you look at California and really the Bay Area, all but the county and city of San Francisco have we seen pretty much unfettered growth in housing prices over the last 24 or 28 months. And that's put more pressure on local cost of living driven by the cost of housing. So will we continue to see that rise? Just like any other market, if demand exceeds supply, there's going to be pressure on housing prices to rise. There's going to be a lot of talk over the next few years in California about what to do about housing supply, which is now drifting down in inventory even more. And that's putting even more pressure on prices. And folks, the bottom line is, and this is really the key about inflation, we don't know how much of this is supply versus demand. Policy cannot address supply conditions easily in terms of dampening inflation pressure driven by a contraction in supply. It does a pretty good job with demand. So if a lot of this is supply driven and we need to get our supply chains globally back together again, increasing rates will not change that, and in fact could exacerbate the problem rather than solve it. When the governor's budget came out last week, this is January. When the governor's budget came out on January 10, the Department of Finance's forecast, which happened last month, finally came out. And this is the evolution of jobs in California over the next few years. This is through the end of 2025. Now, what I'm going to show you is where the recession peaked, or right before the recession where we peaked. And you can see that red dotted line. We're getting back across that sometime by the end of this year in California, according to the Department of Finance's forecast that accompanies the governor's budget. So under the assumption that this sort of growth of jobs in California smoothly moves up and goes from recovery into expansion, like I showed you in the first graph for the US, we will see personal incomes rise. And this is where you're getting a lot of really robust forecasts about what the governor's budget may look like. But what this also suggests is we're going to get labor force back. We're going to get jobs continuing to be demanded. And in a sense, this is where we think things are going in California. But as Mike said, we're not quite ready yet to really make a statement about the Bay Area. We're still watching a lot of other forecasts and trying to wade through a lot of information before we declare what we think is going to happen more regionally. But this is where we're at right now in terms of the macro view. What I want to do now is I want to talk about our evolving recovery tool. And I want to start with where we saw the changes in Marin County with the latest data. So on Friday, we get new jobs data, but similar to the US picture we saw before, here is the evolution of the Great Recession in Marin County. Marin County entered the Great Recession a little later than the US and California and recovered more quickly. In this recession and recovery, it's a little closer to the US. California is a little behind as a state, but Marin County in a classic form is recovering at a really nice rate, 97.2% there as of the end of November. The supposition is we'll cross that red dotted line sometime in the summer in Marin County. But this is the evolution of jobs in Marin County for folks that live in Marin County. And we've seen really pretty good growth with respect to the state overall. We still got to get that black line above that red dotted line to feel like we've completely recovered. Now, with some more comparisons to the state, the one thing, and this is one of the things Mike and I have been tracking ever since we started here with the pandemic recession, is that change in labor force. So while the unemployment rate, headline unemployment in Marin County is down to 2.9% unemployment, and we've seen jobs growth come back a little bit faster than the state, one of the critical factors is are we losing labor force in Marin County? And again, this is the folks that live in Marin County. And how important is that versus the number of people working in Marin County who may live anywhere? So from an employer standpoint, you know you're going to bring in workers from outside Marin County. The labor force within Marin County generates a lot of the support for our professional and personal services employers in Marin County. And there's this, classic ecosystem that exists between those that live locally and those that come in for work. So when you look at that in the loss of labor force, one of the questions, and we'll address this in a little bit, is has there been an outmigration of workers, and what is that doing in the medium to long term with respect to the available labor force? So good news, the labor force issue is a little concerning. It suggests there's been some population change, but for the most part, Marin County is evolving right along of sort of the classic lines over the last 3 or 4 decades in terms of outpacing the state. If we look more internally at the change in jobs, I'm shading that far right-hand area because I'm going to move you through quickly what's happened over the last basically 24 months. But the initial cuts in April 2020 as compared to January 2020 were deep, and every sector in Marin County was basically affected. May, we saw a little bit of get back. By the end of 2020, the one industry that had recovered was transportation and warehousing. And then as we went through the end of last summer and into fall, we're walking right through to November. That shaded area shows you where there's still some damage. Now, retail in Marin County actually recovered relatively well, and the inbound visitors supported a lot of local retail alongside of the residents going back to brick and mortar. But on the right-hand side, how education has moved, but really leisure and hospitality, hotels, motels, bars, restaurants, other services, this array of hair salons, nail salons, nonprofits that do not have anything to do with healthcare and government, still some lingering damage, even as we're moving toward the end of 2021. So from a workforce development standpoint, one of the things that economic development organizations like Marin Economic Forum are watching very closely is, are there specific sectors where there's not only initial but lingering damage, and has there been sectoral shifts in who's working in what industries in such a way that there may be a lack of demand for a long period of time coming back into, let's say, industries like leisure and hospitality, to where preparing workers for a pre-pandemic volume of jobs may be preparing workers to basically not have a job locally, that you will basically preparing them to go some other place. We have to watch very closely to see if the volume of workers continues to creep up toward that red dotted line. And if it doesn't, let's say 2 or 3 years, then you start talking about structural change, and those jobs may not come back potentially permanently. Government's also concerning, but some of that's where the retirement hypothesis really lives with the most vitality, is that whether or not we've seen a lot of people who were in government finally take their eligibility and run with it, because now the pandemic has given them multiple reasons to do so. Building permits is something we're watching also to see the evolution of new housing units. And you can see that while there was a creep up in 2019 on the far right-hand side, things have somewhat flattened in terms of a 12-month running total. But these data are from 2003, so you can see on the left-hand side of the graph, the big run-up during the boom period before the Great Recession, the turn down during the Great Recession, the sort of beginnings of housing recovery. But for Marin County, it's been sort of the slow, steady ride in terms of putting new housing units up into the marketplace. We watched this because we were hoping to see more complete evolution upward to sort of at least keep up with demand. But one of the reasons why we have a lot of pressure on our housing prices is because we have not seen a surge of new units. We know there's a lot of stuff coming in the pipeline, at least in theory. We'll see in San Rafael, for example, has put a lot of new units on the books. I'm going to end my time talking about what's happened with population data. So for Marin County, data about the components of changing population in Marin County came out in December from Department of Finance and their estimates of what's happened to the population over the last fiscal year. And I'm going to show you the fiscal year data from 2010 through the end of 2021 with the idea that you have these July to June calendar dates for each one of these data points. So this is the number of births in Marin County, and here is the number of people who passed on. And we call that sort of net change, natural change in the population. Migration adds to this and completes the components of change in population. So this is foreign inbounds in net, meaning these are people that came from outside the country to live in Marin County in net. We know that some folks probably left Marin County and went to some other country as well. But consistently over the last decade, we've had net positive movement in terms of people coming to Marin County versus those that left to go from some other country. Now, why that's an important distinction is this piece. This blue columns are the net movement within the United States, including other places within California, from Marin County in net. So you can see right after the Great Recession, we saw actually additional people coming to Marin County from within the United States in net versus leaving Marin County. That changed a little bit in the middle of the decade and then has consistently since 2017 been going down. Now, part of this is regional change based on fire, but part of this also has been housing prices and changes in retirement status and a lot of other items. And this is one of the things that's really tough for economists. We don't measure why people make these decisions to leave an area very well. We think we kind of know, but we do not have any real precision on those data. And this is the evolution of the population overall. So Marin County has lost population 4 out of the last 5 years with a little bit of an increase in 2018. Some of that inbound from Sonoma County and Napa County after the fires. But we're watching this for 2 major reasons. Is one, it does change housing dynamics partially in terms of demand, but it also changes labor force. So like I told you before, some of that loss of labor force is because people have left the area. How permanent is that change? And what does it change in terms of the components of the labor force? So that combination has led to lower levels on average. And it's in the 2020 census data when they actually go live that we're really going to get some answers to some of these questions. But folks, overall, and Mike and I will talk about this later in the winter and the spring, the context for Marin County to continue to recover over the next few months and few years looks good. We have some headwinds in terms of potentially rising interest rates and how that might slow things down a little bit, but also just the uncertainty around the variants and how policy will play out if we see another variant come to fruition. So with that, I'll hand it back over to Mike.
Thank you, Rob. Actually, you can go back to that last slide because I want to just make a quick comment for our audience on that. We wanted to put this slide up because some of you may have been aware of a recent study by UC Berkeley, which was picked up by several news outlets, including the Marin IJ, talking about this notion of a pandemic exodus from California, which follows the line of California exodus of businesses and residents that's been a narrative picked up by many over the last couple of years. It's been previously reported that Marin's population and California's sort of people moving out of California has been occurring since 2016. So it's really nothing new driven by the pandemic. In fact, that study itself concludes that they don't see any evidence of a pandemic-driven exodus from California. But it's a popular thing to talk about. It can be even sensationalistic. And the headline in the Marin Independent Journal about a 24% increase in exits from Marin County from pre-pandemic levels really needs to be investigated a little bit further. If you read that report, and there is a ton of data in the report, and I've read all the appendices, you'll see that that 24% is really represented by an increase of 390 people that left, 390 more people that left in the third quarter of 2021 versus the first quarter of 2020. Now, Marin has a population of over 265,000 people. And so if you think that an additional 390 people over the average leaving constitutes an exodus from Marin, you're free to think that. We don't happen to see it that way. We're not denying that there is an increase in net inflows into Marin, a decrease, excuse me. But as Rob said, and this is really important, we don't measure why people leave. And so we don't have any good evidence as to why. We have lots of assumptions and opinions, as does everyone. But the key issue for us is not about the social pressures or other issues that may be resulting in this decrease in net migration. It's about the labor force. And so from that perspective, Rob touched on some really important points here. One is that we look at our labor force and we're actually recovering at a pretty decent rate. Actually, Rob, I'll ask you to go to the next slide for this part. So we are watching several things going into this year. The first thing we're looking at is economic recovery. And as I say, note their talent pipelines. Hiring has been an issue, particularly at the lower skill, lower wage levels, has been an issue in Marin County for more than a decade. So this is not a pandemic thing. Like many other things, it has accelerated it, and the future remains really unclear, especially for the in-person services businesses. Now, that is a significant part of the Marin County economy. And now we have to start asking ourselves, and to Rob's point, is this permanent? It's not about recovering those jobs as much as it is, are those jobs going to continue to be demanded here in Marin, or are we going to potentially see a thinning of in-person services businesses? Are we going to see fewer restaurants and coffee shops and nail salons? Is there something that will create some lasting change, particularly the lack of available workforce for many reasons? Business revenues is the other thing we're looking at, because we want to know how long it's going to take people to recover to those pre-pandemic levels. Earlier last year, Marin Economic Forum launched a survey of businesses in Marin County. We had over almost 1,000 responses, and we asked how long people thought it would take to recover revenues to pre-pandemic levels. And over 50% of people responded at that time 6 to 12 months. I think this was right before Omicron, so that sentiment may have changed. But that's, we're keeping an eye on that. Is that something that's going to happen? That would actually be a good story if those businesses that responded were able to recover that quickly. And then the other thing we're looking at in recovery is what is the impact of remote work going to be? Obviously, the new variant has delayed a lot of people's plans to return to the office. In the meantime, the big news that occurred in Marin last week was that Autodesk, which is one of our largest employers, decided that they will not be renewing a lease of a property, not only in San Francisco, but one here in Marin. So that's kind of the first large employer to say, we're probably downsizing because we have a significant portion of our workforce that is going to be working remotely. On the flip side, we've read lots of studies lately where sentiment about remote work among employees is declining from where it was. That's to say that people aren't as satisfied working from home as they may have been at the beginning of the pandemic. So if all else is equal and the health issue is secure, will people desire to return to that office environment? This is all very much in flux right now, but it's going to impact sort of the recovery of here in Marin County. The second piece of that equation, though, is what are the economic opportunities that we see coming forward this year? Last year, there were two big things. There were more business licenses applied for in Marin County than the previous year, which is a great sign in the current state of the economy and uncertainty here. But there were also some major acquisitions of Marin companies last year, including one is known to many of us, Rustic Bakery. But in addition to that, there was a big mortgage company and other professional services companies that have been acquired. That follows a trend of last year being a record year, actually, for venture capital deals. And so there still remains a lot of business activity occurring in the Bay Area and here in Marin County that shows that the economy is not only resilient, but there's some really interesting future opportunities here with the businesses that are being created. We know we've got entrepreneurs here. We need them to be able to come out of the woodwork a little bit more and be supported by the community. And I think that's happening in a lot of ways. That's a really interesting thing we're keeping an eye on. Again, remote work from an opportunity perspective. Now, understand that Marin County already had a lot of people working remotely pre-pandemic. But what we're asking right now is if there is an increase in residents that have remote work opportunity and do that, does that change a little bit of the dynamics here in terms of our locally serving businesses? Does that create more demand for office space that could be co-working spaces? Again, once things get back to a safe health conditions, it forces us to rethink what an economy with a large percentage of remote work could look like. And that's really exciting, which leads me to the last point of you all are probably aware that MEF has partnered with the County of Marin to create what is the first ever economic strategy for Marin County. We are right in the middle of this process right now. We're hosting focus groups of different sectors and different stakeholder communities across the county. And our goal is to identify what the community wants in terms of the economy and how it's going to function for them. And as we always say, economies are way more than just businesses. It's about quality of life. So we're going through that process right now with the community and starting to identify, what is the big picture for the Marin County economy. So this is a really exciting opportunity and something that you're going to be hearing more about. It's really forced our organization to be forward thinking about the economy. And so, yes, we look at the data that we have in front of us and no, we don't want to be trying to predict the future, but there's a middle ground there where we're working with stakeholders to really try to identify what is the vision and what are the ways to get there. So that's coming down the pike. We expect to see that coming in, materializing into a draft and an actual strategy, probably between April and May of this year. Some of you may already be engaged with us on that process right now. And I want to close by saying that, yes, Rob and I are reluctant ever to try to predict the future, but the Marin Economic Forum will be hosting our annual Forecast in the Future event where we will try to do that. That's going to be coming in late March. Please look in your inboxes for the invitation to that. It should be coming shortly. We're really excited. We're going to be doing it in person this year. And we hope that all of you will have the chance to come to that or participate via live stream. But once again, that will be our major annual event coming in March. So I want to thank Dr. Rob Eiler for his time this morning with all of us. And I want to thank all of you. Again, we had a really nice turnout, well over 60 people today. So spread the word. We really put these on for you, for our community. And we'll be having the next one in February. So with that, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in and following the Marin Economic Forum. And we'll see you in February.